Good day, students. Here are the answers to your exercises on complex numbers. Okay, number 1. Find the values of x and y in the equation x plus yi plus 3 plus I is equal to 6 plus 3i. So, ang atoang pagkuha sa x and y values in this equation, so this is in the standard form, di ba? X plus yi. So, ang atoang isa ka term diri 3 plus I, pwede na nato siya ibalhin sa pika sa tabok sa equation. So, ang ato ang 3 mahimong negative, di ba? Kung mutabok na ganitag equal sign, mabali man ang ato ang sign. So, ang I po diri mahimong negative. So, x plus yi is equal to 6 plus 3i minus 3 minus I. So, copy this. Ato ning i-simplify. So, ang ato ang makombine na ni kay 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 is equal to 3. Then we have 3i minus I is equal to 2i. So, that is 3 plus 2i. So, since it is in the standard form and it is in the standard form also, and they are equal, so x here is 3 and y is 2. Okay, number 2. Simplify each of the following and express in standard form. Okay, letter A, we have 4 minus 3i minus negative 3 plus 4i. So, how do we simplify this one? Okay, so here we can distribute the sign to each term there is sa ato ang quantity. Since minus man ta, i-distribute yun na nato ang sign. So, copy the first term. We have 4 minus 3i. Then, minus times negative 3, that is positive 3. Then, negative times positive 4i is negative 4i. Then, we can simplify this. 4 plus 3 is 7. Then, negative 3i minus 4i, that is negative 7i. So, this is in the standard form already. So, the answer is 7 minus 7i. Next, let's go to letter C. 2 plus I plus 3 minus 2i minus 4 plus 5i. So, here we have minus. So, first we distribute this sign. So, we copy these terms, 2 plus I plus 3 minus 2i. Then, we distribute the sign. So, the 4 becomes minus 4 and minus 5i. So, let us simplify by combining like terms. So, we can combine this 1, 2 plus 3 is 5 minus 4. So, this is 1. Then we have I minus 2i, that is negative I, minus 5i, so that is negative 6i, or 1 minus 6i. Alright, let's go to letter E. 3 times 2i times negative I. So, we can multiply the coefficient first, then the i's. So, we have here the numerical coefficient 3 times 2 times we have here negative 1. That is understood that we have negative 1 there. So, 3 times 2 times negative 1, that is negative 6. Then, I times I, because the negative is already taken in our numerical coefficient. So, I times I na lang, that is I squared. So, negative 6 times negative 1, because again in our discussion, I squared is equal to negative 1. So, negative 6 times negative 1, that is positive 6. Next, 1 plus I, quantity multiplied to 2 minus I. So here, let us do our FOIL method. Remember your FOIL method? So we have 1 times 2, that is 2. 1 times negative I, that is negative I. I times 2 is 2I. Then I times negative I is negative I squared. So let us combine like terms to simplify this. So 2, wala man tayo makuha, combine ito, so copy 2. Negative I plus 2I, that is positive I, so plus I. Then again, I squared is equal to negative 1, so minus negative 1. To simplify further, 2 plus I, so negative, minus negative 1 is positive 1. So we can combine 2 plus 1, that is 3 plus I. Next, so we have here 2 plus I quantity squared. To simplify this, let us multiply 2 plus I to itself since squared man ta. So 2 plus I times 2 plus I, and let's do the FOIL method. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times I is 2I times 2 is 2I times I is I squared. So we can combine these two. So copy 4 plus 2I plus 2I, that is 4I plus I squared is equal to negative 1. So 4 plus 4I, that becomes minus 1. Then 4 minus 1, that is 3. 3 plus 4I. Next, we have here 3 plus 2I quantity multiplied to 3 minus 2I. Again, let's do the FOIL method. 3 times 3, that is 9. 3 times negative 2I, that is negative 6I. 2I times 3, that is positive 6I. Then 2I times negative 2I, that is negative 4I squared. So this becomes 0 nani. So what is remaining is 9 minus 4. Itong I squared again is negative 1. So 9 plus 4, that is 13. Then we have this. I quantity multiply 2I squared plus 2I cubed minus I to the power of 4. So here we can distribute I to each term. So I times I squared, that becomes I cubed. I times 2I cubed, that becomes 2I to the power of 4. Then I times negative I to the power of 4 is negative I to the power of 5. So, on our discussion, I cubed is equal to negative I. Then, I to the power of 4 is equal to 1. Times 2 siya. Minus I to the power of 5 is equal to I. So, we simplify further. 2 times 1 is 2. Then, negative I minus I, that is negative 2I. So, the answer is 2 minus 2I. Okay, next we have 1 plus 5I all over 1 minus I. So, first thing to do to simplify this is to rationalize it. So, dili man ta pwede nga naatay imaginary nga number diri sa atong denominator. So, we rationalize it by eliminating the imaginary sa ato ang denominator. So, to eliminate that, ang kaning denominator na to, ato siyang multiplyan og opposite niya nga sign sa second term. So, maon niya ang atong i-multiply kay 1 minus I man na, ang atong i-multiply 1 plus I. So, this same sa ato ang numerator. So, 1 plus I over 1 plus I ang atong i-multiply para equal ra gyapon ang ato ang equation. Same ra gyapon siya, walay mausab. So, mahitabo, mahimo siyang 1 plus 5I times 1 plus I. So all over, we have 1 minus I times 1 plus I. Then we do our FOIL method to numerator and to our denominator. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times I is I. 5i times 1, that is 5i. Then 5i times I, that is 5i squared. All over, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times I is I. Negative I times 1 is negative I. Negative I times I is negative I squared. Then we simplify further. So 1, I plus 5i, that is 6i. So combine na to ang like terms, no? Then we have 5, again I squared is negative 1. Sa ato pong denominator, 1 plus I minus I, that is 0 na. So minus I squared, that is minus negative 1. So 1 plus 6i, 5 times negative 1, that is minus 5. 1 minus negative 1, that is 1 plus 1. So 1 plus 6i minus 5 is, combine like terms, 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Plus 6i all over 1 plus 1 is 2. Then we simplify, negative 4 divide 2 is negative 2. Plus 6 divide 2 is 3i. Okay, next. We have here 1 over 2i. Again, dili ta pwede nga naatay I sa denominator, so we rationalize it. So, I over 2I times, so here, kung isa lang ka term, i-multiply lang siya sa iyahang kaugalingon. Then, both sa numerator and denominator. So, we have here 1 times 2I, that is 2I, all over 2I times 2I, that is 2I squared. So, copy 2i sa numerator over 2 squared is 4 and I squared na dayon. Then, 2i all over 4 because I squared is negative 1. So, ano yung 4 times negative 1? So, 2i over 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So, 2 over negative 4, that is negative 1 half I. Okay, let us have this one. 3 plus 2i divided by 3 minus 7i. So, pwede din siya masulat as 3 plus 2i over 3 minus 7i. Again, dili ta pwede na I sa atong denominator. So, we rationalize it by multiplying it with 3 plus 7i over 3 plus 7i. Since dirita nag-base sa atong denominator, kay 3 minus 7i man, atong i-multiply 3 plus 7i. So, opposite nga sign sa second term ang ato ang buhaton para ma-rationalize. So, we can multiply the numerators and then multiply po the denominators. So, it can be 3 plus 2i times 3 plus 7i all over 3 minus 7i times 3 plus 7i. So, let's do our FOIL method again. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 7i is 21i. 2i times 3, that is 6i. 2i times 7i, that is 14i squared. All over sa denominator, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 7i, that is 21i. Negative 7i times 3, that is negative 21i. And negative 7i times 7i, that is negative 49i squared. So, combining like terms, so 9, so 21i plus 6i, that becomes 27i. Then we have 14, and I squared again is negative 1. On the denominator, 9, kani siya, pwede ni siya ma-cancel na, since 21i minus 21i is 0. So, ang mahabilin 9 minus 49 and I squared is negative 1. So, ang nahabilin 9 plus 27i, 14 times negative 1, that is minus 14. All over 9, negative 49 times negative 1, that is positive 49. So, makombine na po nato ni 9 minus 14, that is negative 5 plus 27i. All over 9 plus 49 is 58. So, pwede na to siya ma-separate og sulat para standard form ta. So, negative 5 over 58 plus 27 over 58i. Let's go to number 3. Interpret geometrically on the complex plane the number 3 plus 2i and 4/3 minus 7i. So, this is how we interpret geometrically on the complex plane. So, ang atong complex plane is this one. So, we have here the horizontal line as our real numbers. Kaning horizontal line. Then, ang ato ang vertical line, mo na siya ang ato ang imaginary numbers. So, again, this is not a Cartesian plane. Dili ni siya Cartesian plane. Parehas sa atong nahibawan nga, we have the x-axis and the y-axis. Since, ang katong Cartesian plane, puros man to sila real numbers sa x, real numbers sa y. But here, ang ato ang horizontal line, or the horizontal axis are the real numbers, and the vertical axis is the imaginary. Okay, so to graph it, so we have here 3 plus 2i. So again, ang atong 3 is the A, then 2 ang ato ang B. So i-graph lang nato diri ang point. So diri man ang real number, kani man atong real number, kani man atong imaginary number. So 3 dayon natay 2 nga point. So diri ta nga point. Okay, so, mo ni siya ang distance from the origin. Mapadulong sa point. So, mo na siyang atong modulus or the absolute value. Mo na ang distance. And then, the next is 4/3 minus 7i. A is 4/3, then B is negative 7. So, 4/3, that is an improper fraction. In mixed form, that is 1 and 1/3. So, naa diri ang atong 1 and 1/3. Then, we have B nga negative 7. So, mao na ang atong point na diri A. So, from the origin, mao ni siya ang distance or the modulus or the absolute value. Okay, that's how we interpret geometrically on the complex plane sa ato ang given complex numbers. Alright, number 4. What are the additive inverses and multiplicative inverses of the following numbers? Okay, let us have the first one. 3 plus 2i. So, the additive inverse of this is negative 3 minus 2i. I-change lang na to ang sign sa kada term. So, that is why ng additive inverse, negative 3 minus 2i. Ang the multiplicative inverse, saan na to pagkuha? Okay, let zi is equal to the multiplicative inverse of 3 plus 2i. So, mag-let z sub i. So, ang atong z sub i is 1 over the given complex number. So, 1 over 3 plus 2i. Always gina siya nga 1 ang numerator pag multiplicative inverse ta. Kay reciprocal man na siya. So, 1 over 3 plus 2i. Again, let us rationalize it first. So, we multiply 3 minus 2i. Kay plus man dito. So, balihon na to ang second term, diba? To rationalize. So, 1 times 3 minus 2i, that is 3 minus 2i. Then, we do our FOIL method. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 2i is negative 6i. 2i times 3 is positive 6i. 2i times negative 2i, that is negative 4i squared. To simplify further, kanima 0. Copy numerator, so 9 minus 4, then I squared is negative 1. So, copy gyapon numerator, 3 minus 2i over 9 minus 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. So, 9 plus 4. So, it becomes 3 minus 2i all over 13. So, in standard form, that is 3 over 13 minus 2 over 13i. Okay, let's go to the next given. 4 plus 3/5 I. So the additive inverse of this is negative 4 minus 3/5 I. Then the multiplicative inverse, let us have the z sub I, which is equal to 1 over the given complex number 4 plus 3/5 I. Again, let us rationalize this one by multiplying 4 minus 3/5 I over 4 minus 3/5 I. So 1 times 4 minus 3/5 I is 4 minus 3/5 I. Then we multiply this one since 4 times 4 is 16. So kani sila makancel naman to sila no kay ma-0. So ang mahabilin ang square na lang sa second term. So minus 9 over 25 I squared because 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 5 is 25, then I squared. Okay, so let us simplify further. Copy the numerator. Ang ato ang I squared again is negative 1. So, 4 minus 3/5 I all over 16 plus, may muna siyang plus. Okay, negative times negative is positive. 9 over 25. Copy again the numerator all over. Let us have the LCD. So, 25 atong LCD. 25 divide 1 is 25 times 16, that is 400. 25 divide 25 is 1 times 9, that is 9. So, copy the numerator. 400 plus 9 is 409 over 25. So, para ma-simplify pa yun, since pwede na to ni siya i-multiply as reciprocal, so mabali na siya, pero multiply na siya diri sa atong numerator. Okay, so 4 minus 3/5 I times 25 over 409 na. So 4 times 25 over 409, that is 100 over 409, minus 3/5 I times 25 over 409, that is 15 over 409. Since makancel man ni si 5, tapos makancel po ang 5 ni 25. So, 3 times 5 na lang mo na 15. Then, copy ang ato ang nahabilin nga 409i. So, maano siya ang ato ang multiplicative inverse of the given complex number. Okay, another we have 3 minus 12i all over 4. And the additive inverse of that is negative 3/4 plus 3i. So, si 3i, that is 12 divide 4 mo na nga 3. Since negative 3, may mong positive. So, negative 3/4 plus 3i. And the multiplicative inverse, again, we have 1 over the given complex number. And then, we will do the reciprocal of this. So, 1 times 4 over 3 minus 12i. Mo nga, 4 over 3 minus 12i. Kani siya, murag gibali siya, reciprocal. So, times 1, maurag gihapon ni siya. Then, we rationalized it by multiplying 3 plus 12i over 3 plus 12i. So, we multiply the numerators. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 12i is 48i. Then, 3 times 3 is 9. Then, 12 times 12, negative money. So, negative 44i squared. Okay, so copy the numerator. I squared again is negative 1. Copy the numerator. So, ang mabilin diri 9 plus 144 na siya. So, 12 plus 48i, 144 plus 9 is 153. So, pwede nato din siya ma-simplify further as kaning 12 o 153 both divisible by 3. So, ang nahabilin, 12 divide 3 is 4 and 153 divide 3 is 51. Plus, divisible po siya by 3 gihapon. So, 48 divide 3 is 16 and 153 divide 3 is 51i. So, inani ang multiplicative inverse. Okay, last one for additive and multiplicative inverse. We have here a given complex number 2 minus 3i all over 1 plus 5i. So, copy that and rationalize. So we have, we will do the FOIL method again. 2 times 1, that is 2. 2 times negative 5i, that is negative 10i. Negative 3i times 1, negative 3i. Negative 3i times negative 5i, that is positive 15i squared. All over 1 times 1 is 1. Then 5i times negative 5i, that is negative 25i squared. Okay, so combining like terms, that is 2 minus 10, negative 10 minus 3, that is negative 13i, plus 15, then I squared is negative 1. All over 1 minus 25i squared, we substitute it by negative 1. Okay, so 15 times negative 1, maani negative 15 na diri. Then negative 25 times negative 1, may mo ng positive 25. So what is left on our denominator is negative 13 minus 13i, since 2 minus 15 is negative 13. Then 1 plus 25 is 26. So in standard form, we can have negative 13 over 26, that is negative 1/2, minus 13 over 26 again is negative 1/2 i. So this is the standard form, pero pwede na to siya masulat as this. Negative 1 minus I all over 2. Okay, ato lang siyang gi-simplify, no? Simplify pa ni siya na to. Wala pa ta nagkuha additive o multiplicative inverse. Since kani siya, wala man siya naka-standard form. So, ato sa siyang gihimong standard form. So, ang additive inverse niya, kaniat natong basihan, ang standard form. So, 1/2 plus 1/2 i. Sa atong multiplicative inverse, kani ato ang gigamit para mas easy ang atong pag-solve. So, 1 all over negative 1 minus I over 2. So, again, reciprocalan ni ato siyang ibali. That becomes 2 over negative 1 minus I. So, again, kay fraction manggod ni ang ato ang denominator. Pag fraction gani ang denominator, pwede nato na siya ma-reciprocal. Pero multiply lang nato sa numerator. So, gibali nato ang denominator mo na gitawag og reciprocal. So, 2 minus negative I negative 1 minus I kay times 1 raman. So, same ra na siya. Then, i-rationalize na po na to kay namatay I sa denominator. So, 1 plus I man ang denominator. So, ato ang gi-multiply of 1 minus I. So, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative I is positive 2I all over. 1 times 1 is 1I times negative I is negative I squared. So, copy the numerator. Negative I again is negative 1. So, ang denominator na nato 1 plus 1, that is 2. So, negative 2 plus 2i over 2. To simplify, negative 2 over 2 is negative 1 plus 2 over 2 is 1 times I. So, mo niyang multiplicative inverse, negative 1 plus I. So, we are now in the last part of our exercises. Find the modulus of each of the numbers in problem 4. So, modulus meaning ang absolute values sa ato ang mga complex numbers. So, we have this absolute value of 3 plus 2i. So, this is in the standard form na, diba? This is a plus bi. So, a is 3 and b is 2. So, to get the absolute value of this given complex number, atong i-square root ang squared ni A plus ang squared ni B. So, maoning square root of 3 squared plus 2 squared. So, that becomes square root of 3 squared is 9 plus 2 squared is 4. So, the answer is square root of 13. Next given, the absolute value of 4 plus 3/5 I. So, again, we square root ang square ni A plus ang square ni B. So, 4 squared plus 3/5 squared. So, square root of 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9, 5 squared is 25. So, we get the LCD, 25. 25 divide 1 is 25 times 16, that is 400. 25 divide 25 is 1 times 9, so that is 9. So, 400 plus 9 is 409. All over 25. Naka-square root gihapon ha. So, to simplify further, wala man tayo square root ni 409. So, square root of 409 na, but we have square root of 25, which is 5. So, the answer is square root of 409 over 5. The third one, the absolute value of 3 minus 12i all over 4. So again, our A here is 3/4 and then our B is negative 3 since negative 12 over 4 is negative 3. So the square root of A squared plus B squared. So 3/4 squared plus negative 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. So, we get the LCD since fraction man ni, then add na siya. So, 16 na tong LCD. 16 divide 16 is 1 times 9 is 9. 16 divide 1 is 16 times 9, that is 144. So, 9 plus 144, that is 153 all over 16. Naka-square root gihapon. And then, pwede na to siya ma-simplify. Pwede na to ma-factor out si 153 as 9 times 17 over 16 para mapagawas na to si 9 since the square root of 9 is 3. Then, wala may square root of 17, so times square root of 17 lang ta. Then, the square root of 16 is 4. So, this is the answer. 3 square root of 17 over 4. Then the last one, 2 minus 3i all over 1 plus 5i. Absolute value niya. So, sa ato ang pag-simplify ganiha further, ani nga given, mo ni siya ang atong simplified, kuan na siya naka-standard form. So, ato lang siyang gi-copy from there sa atong solution ganiha. So, ato ang gi-square ang A, plus ang square pod ni B. So, square root of negative 1/2 squared is 1/4 plus negative 1/2 squared is 1/4. 1/4 plus 1/4, that is 1/2. So, square root of 1/2, ato pa ni siyang i-rationalize since dili pud ta pwede nga naka-square root si denominator. So, to rationalize it, ato lang i-multiply ang denominator. Kung asara na siya ka-term, so square root of 2 man ni. So, mao na atong gi-multiplyan of square root of 2 over square root of 2. So, 1 times square root of 1 times 2 is square root of 2. Then, square root of 2 times 2, that is square root of 4, mao ni 2. So, this is our absolute value sa atong given square root of 2 over 2. Again, the absolute value or the modulus is the distance of the complex number from its point to the origin or from the origin to its point.